How to prepare for an assistant professor interview. 25 interview questions and answers. Preparing for an assistant professor interview requires more than reviewing your academic qualifications. Interviewers want to understand your teaching philosophy, research interests, communication skills, classroom management approach, academic achievements, and ability to contribute to the institution. You should be prepared to explain your subject expertise clearly while demonstrating enthusiasm for teaching and student development. In this guide, we cover 25 important assistant professor interview questions with strong sample answers. Use these answers as preparation examples, but personalize them with your own education, research experience, teaching methods, achievements, and career goals. Tell us about yourself.
I'm an enthusiastic academic professional with a strong background in my subject area and a genuine interest in teaching and research. My academic journey has helped me develop strong analytical, communication, and problem-solving skills. I enjoy explaining complex concepts in simple and practical ways so students can understand them effectively. Along with teaching, I am interested in research, professional development, and contributing to academic activities. I believe an assistant professor should continuously learn, support students, conduct meaningful research, and contribute positively to the university community.
Why do you want to become an assistant professor?
I want to become an assistant professor because teaching allows me to combine my academic knowledge with my passion for helping students grow. I enjoy creating learning environments where students feel comfortable asking questions, discussing ideas, and developing independent thinking skills. This position would also provide opportunities to continue my research and collaborate with other academics. I am particularly interested in contributing to curriculum development, student mentoring, academic projects, and departmental activities. My long-term goal is to become a respected educator and researcher who makes a meaningful contribution to higher education.
What is your teaching philosophy?
My teaching philosophy is centered on student engagement, clarity, practical learning, and continuous improvement. I believe students learn best when they actively participate rather than simply listen to lectures. Therefore, I combine lectures with discussions, examples, case studies, presentations, questions, and practical activities whenever appropriate. I also recognize that students have different learning styles and academic backgrounds, so I try to make my teaching flexible and inclusive. My goal is to develop not only subject knowledge but also critical thinking, communication, problem-solving, and independent learning abilities.
How would you handle a difficult student?
I would handle a difficult student professionally, patiently, and respectfully. First, I would try to understand the reason behind the student's behavior rather than immediately making assumptions. If appropriate, I would speak with the student privately and explain my expectations clearly. I would listen to their concerns and work toward a reasonable solution while maintaining classroom standards. If the problem continued, I would follow the university's established policies and seek guidance from the appropriate academic authority. My priority would be maintaining a respectful learning environment for every student.
How do you make your lectures engaging?
I make lectures engaging by connecting academic concepts with practical examples and real-world situations. Instead of relying entirely on traditional lectures, I encourage students to participate through questions, discussions, short activities, case studies, presentations, and problem-solving exercises. I also use appropriate digital tools and visual materials when they improve understanding. Before each class, I identify the key learning outcomes and structure the lesson around them. I regularly check students' understanding through questions and feedback. This approach helps students remain involved while developing deeper understanding of the subject.
How do you assess student performance?
I believe student assessment should measure understanding, application, critical thinking, and progress rather than memorization alone. Depending on the course, I would use examinations, assignments, presentations, projects, quizzes, class participation, and practical activities. I would clearly communicate assessment criteria so students understand what is expected. I also believe timely feedback is essential because it helps students identify their strengths and improve weaknesses. My assessment methods would align with course learning outcomes and university policies. I would aim to make assessment fair, transparent, consistent, and supportive of meaningful student learning.
How do you motivate students who are struggling academically?
I motivate struggling students by first identifying the specific barriers affecting their performance. Some students may need additional academic support, while others may lack confidence, organization, or understanding of foundational concepts. I would provide constructive feedback, recommend useful resources, and encourage students to ask questions without fear of embarrassment. When possible, I would offer additional guidance or direct them toward appropriate university support services. I would also set achievable short-term goals so students can recognize their progress. My approach is supportive while still maintaining appropriate academic expectations.
How do you use technology in teaching?
I use technology when it genuinely improves learning rather than simply because it is available. Depending on the course, I may use presentations, learning management systems, online resources, digital assessments, educational videos, simulations, or collaborative platforms. Technology can make lessons more interactive and provide students with additional learning resources outside the classroom. However, I believe technology should complement sound teaching methods rather than replace them. I would also ensure that digital materials are accessible and relevant to course objectives. My goal is to use technology strategically to improve engagement, understanding, communication, and learning outcomes.
What are your research interests?
My research interests are closely connected to my academic background, professional experience, and current developments in my field. I am particularly interested in research that addresses meaningful academic or practical problems and can contribute to existing knowledge. I aim to develop research projects that are methodologically sound, relevant, and capable of producing useful findings. I am also interested in collaborating with colleagues and researchers from related disciplines. As an assistant professor, I would like to build a consistent research agenda, publish quality work, seek research opportunities, and involve suitable students in academic projects.
How would you balance teaching and research?
I would balance teaching and research through careful planning, organization, and consistent time management. At the beginning of each semester, I would establish teaching priorities, research milestones, and realistic deadlines. I would also look for opportunities where teaching and research complement each other, such as using current research findings as classroom examples or involving students in suitable research activities. I understand that both responsibilities require commitment, so I would maintain a structured schedule and avoid unnecessary delays. My goal would be to provide high-quality teaching while steadily developing a productive and sustainable research profile.
What would you do if a student challenged your answer in class?
If a student challenged my answer, I would respond positively and professionally. Academic discussion should allow students to question ideas respectfully, and I would see such questions as opportunities for deeper learning. If I am confident about the answer, I would explain my reasoning and provide supporting evidence. If the question involves information I do not know, I would honestly acknowledge that and investigate it rather than providing inaccurate information. I believe demonstrating intellectual honesty is important because professors should model curiosity, critical thinking, and a willingness to continue learning.
How do you manage classroom discipline?
I manage classroom discipline by establishing clear expectations from the beginning and applying them consistently. Students should understand expectations regarding attendance, participation, deadlines, respectful communication, and academic integrity. I prefer preventing problems through engaging teaching and clear communication rather than relying on punishment. If disruptive behavior occurs, I would address it calmly and professionally, beginning with a private conversation when appropriate. Serious or repeated issues would be handled according to institutional policies. My goal is to maintain a respectful environment where students can learn effectively while understanding their responsibilities as members of an academic community.
How would you support students with different learning abilities?
I would support students with different learning abilities by using inclusive and flexible teaching practices. I recognize that students may differ in their prior knowledge, learning pace, communication preferences, and academic needs. I would provide clear explanations, multiple examples, appropriate visual materials, and opportunities for questions and discussion. Where university policies provide accommodations, I would follow them carefully and work with relevant support services. I would also encourage students to communicate when they need additional assistance. My objective is to create an environment where every student has a fair opportunity to understand the material and succeed.
What is your approach to academic integrity?
I consider academic integrity fundamental to higher education. Students should understand that honest academic work is essential for meaningful learning and professional development. I would explain expectations regarding plagiarism, unauthorized collaboration, citation, examinations, and other forms of academic misconduct at the beginning of a course. I would also design assessments thoughtfully to encourage original thinking and understanding. If an integrity concern arises, I would document the situation and follow the university's established procedures fairly and consistently. I believe professors should demonstrate integrity themselves and help students understand why ethical academic behavior matters.
How do you handle criticism or feedback?
I view constructive criticism as an opportunity for professional growth. Teaching and research can always be improved, so I try to listen carefully to feedback rather than becoming defensive. I would consider feedback from students, colleagues, supervisors, peer reviewers, and academic evaluations. After receiving criticism, I would identify the specific issue, evaluate whether changes are necessary, and develop an appropriate improvement plan. At the same time, I would use professional judgment when considering different opinions. My goal is to remain open-minded, continuously improve my teaching and research, and maintain high professional standards.
What would you do if your class performed poorly on an examination?
If a large number of students performed poorly, I would analyze the results before drawing conclusions. I would review the assessment questions, learning objectives, teaching methods, student feedback, and areas where students experienced difficulty. If the assessment was appropriately designed, I would identify concepts that require additional explanation and provide targeted support. If I discovered a problem with the assessment itself, I would take appropriate corrective action according to university policies. I believe poor performance should be treated as useful information that can help both students and instructors improve future learning outcomes.
How would you contribute to our department?
I would contribute through effective teaching, meaningful research, student mentoring, collaboration, and participation in departmental activities. I would be willing to support curriculum development, academic committees, seminars, workshops, conferences, and other activities that benefit the department. I would also look for opportunities to develop collaborative research projects and strengthen connections with other academics or professional organizations. Most importantly, I would approach departmental responsibilities with reliability and professionalism. I understand that a successful department depends on teamwork, so I would aim to be a supportive colleague who contributes beyond my individual teaching responsibilities.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I hope to have established myself as a strong teacher and productive researcher within the university. I would like to have developed a clear research agenda, contributed to quality publications, participated in academic conferences, and built productive collaborations. From a teaching perspective, I want to continuously improve my courses based on evidence and student needs. I also hope to contribute to departmental initiatives and mentor students effectively. My long-term objective is to develop a respected academic career while making meaningful contributions to students, colleagues, research, and the institution.
How do you stay current in your academic field?
I stay current by regularly reading scholarly literature, following developments in my discipline, attending conferences and seminars, participating in professional networks, and engaging with current research. I also monitor changes in technology, professional practices, and educational approaches that may affect my field. When appropriate, I incorporate current research and examples into my teaching so students can understand how theoretical concepts connect with modern developments. I believe academics should remain lifelong learners. Maintaining current knowledge not only strengthens research but also improves classroom discussions and helps students receive relevant and up-to-date education.
How would you mentor students?
My mentoring approach would focus on understanding students' academic goals and helping them develop realistic plans to achieve those goals. I would encourage students to take responsibility for their learning while providing guidance when they need it. For students interested in research, I could help them identify suitable topics, understand research methods, locate academic resources, and develop professional skills. I would also encourage students to participate in conferences, projects, and other academic opportunities where appropriate. Effective mentoring requires patience, accessibility, professionalism, and respect for individual differences in students' long-term career aspirations. Preparing for an assistant professor interview requires a combination of academic preparation, teaching confidence, research awareness, communication skills, and knowledge about the institution. Practice answering these 25 questions naturally rather than memorizing every sentence. Review your research, teaching philosophy, publications, academic achievements, and subject expertise before the interview. Prepare examples that demonstrate your abilities and be ready to discuss both successes and challenges professionally. Most importantly, show enthusiasm for teaching, student development, research, and collaboration. With focused preparation and confident communication, you can make a strong impression and demonstrate that you are ready for an assistant professor position.